$1 trillion Bitcoin network to be replaced soon? Michael Saylor bold prediction. The largest cryptocurrency in the world, Bitcoin, has successfully managed to bring about monetary revolution that no one thought was ever possible. Although it started with nothing, but now Bitcoin has become a $1 trillion empire. But survival of Bitcoin in the market has always raised objections due to its price volatility and legitimacy. So will Bitcoin ever fail, or will it be replaced by a new cryptocurrency? Hey guys, and welcome back to Investing Few. In today's video, I will break down Michael Saylor's shocking interview about Bitcoin replacement and bold predictions about Bitcoin's future. But before we start, do not forget to smash the like and subscribe button for more such engaging content. Let's dive right into the video. Will Bitcoin ever be replaced? The question on everyone's mind regarding the future of Bitcoin is about the survival of this cryptocurrency among the newly developing digital coins and alternative blockchains that may pose a significant threat to the expansion of Bitcoin. So many are concerned if potentially Bitcoin can ever be replaced by a new cryptocurrency.
I think there's about zero chance of that.
Really?
Bitcoin's
Okay.
$1 trillion digital monetary network. Bitcoin would be the most successful thing you've ever seen in your life. Period.
That's a big one.
For example, it took Microsoft 44 years to be $1 trillion. It took Apple
Right.
42 years to be $1 trillion network. It took Amazon 24 years to be $1 trillion network. It took Google 22 years to be $1 trillion network. It took Bitcoin 12 years to become $1 trillion network. And there's nothing else.
Right.
There is no other $1 trillion network. So what you have is a decentralized digital network, which is in essence transforming analog money or analog assets to digital assets. It's global. It's running everywhere on the earth, and it has been growing. It was growing at 200% a year. Try to remember when Amazon or Apple or Google grew at 200% a year.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's growing at 200% a year for a decade until March of 2020. And in March of 2020, that monetary fire that was burning at 200% a year hit the pandemic, and the rate of currency expansion increased by a factor of 3. We went from expanding the money supply at 7% a year to expanding the money supply at 24% a year. We're looking at the money supply expanding at 15% a year or more for the next 4 to 8 years. So how do you feed a monetary fire? And the answer is you pour money on it.
Right.
And so the macroeconomics are driving this network to grow faster. The network, it accelerated. It was growing 200% a year. Now it's growing 400+% a year. Okay, again, give me an example of anything this scale that ever grew 400% a year. And in terms of inertia, the $1 trillion is $1 trillion of monetary energy. That means you've got more than 100 million people that have $1 trillion invested in this brand. This is the only brand in the history of the world. It's $1 trillion brand.
The scale and the market in which Bitcoin is currently moving is far too big and has amassed the support of millions of people and thousands of companies. It is not just a random concept or a small-scale project that will be over in a few years. It is a big idea that is deeply engraved into the minds of millions, and you cannot just get rid of it suddenly, and it cannot be replaced by any other cryptocurrency anytime soon, until and unless it matches the caliber and status of what Bitcoin has already achieved.
I think 10,000 companies or 10,000 projects have attempted to displace Bitcoin. I think they've all failed.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to be successful with another crypto asset network is if you target a totally different use case than base treasury asset. So if it's a differentiated thing with a different market segment, a different use case, then perhaps. But in fact, the market has spoken. I'll say it again. In the history of the human race, we've never had $1 trillion digital monetary network. It's the most successful thing humanity has created. It is creating value and gaining market adoption faster than anything that we can point our finger at in the history of the human race. So, there's 100,000 entrepreneurs that would like to be Google or like to displace Facebook or like to displace iOS, and they're all going to have a this is a better thing. But at the end of the day, if you're staring at $1 trillion network that is more successful than everything you've seen in your life, that's growing faster than anything on earth, that's being adopted everywhere in the world, and you're going to then opt to ignore it in favor of a project in somebody's garage. I mean, it just seems irrational. When the other thing is 10 times as big as Bitcoin doing the same exact thing, then maybe it's logical. But right now the market is spoken, right? Yeah. And if you don't actually accept Bitcoin, then what do you think about Facebook, Google, Apple, and Amazon? Because those things are growing much slower with much weaker network effects right now. Right. Bitcoin transcends any company, any CEO, any country. It's spreading everywhere, and it truly is the most successful decentralized technology human beings can point toward.
Bitcoin as a monetary system for nations, states, and governments. With Bitcoin achieving remarkable success and transcending all barriers in the way of money transfer, and accompanied with fast, reliable, and secure way of transferring digital currencies, it is not wrong to ask the question that despite its astronomical status in the crypto market and worldwide in general, why nation, states, and governments are holding back from converting to cryptocurrency, essentially Bitcoin, as their monetary system.
It's $1 trillion network. And that makes it 1/10 the size of gold.
Right.
And so you're seeing it trading maybe $4, $5, $6 billion a day. Mm-hmm. So it's a suitable monetary network for a corporation or an individual that has a scale of investment in the billions or less. But if you wanted to store $10 to $100 billion, it's not quite big enough yet.
Gotcha.
And so there's a natural inertia. It takes a typical individual, it takes them 6 months from the point that they hear about Bitcoin to go through the educational process. And then from the point you decided you wanted to buy it, it would probably take you 12 weeks before you got comfortable with the on-ramp, the custodian, and the technique. Mm-hmm. For corporations, you double or triple that. Companies have corporate governance, they have compliance, they have board of directors. It would be, certain companies, Tesla, they're lightning fast, but the typical company, they think that if they do something and it takes a year to get around to it, that was lightning fast.
Yeah.
So the natural adoption cycle is going to be private companies, mid-size, early adopter, technical forward-thinking public companies.
Right.
Then it will ripple. Normally, small or mid-sized countries, they're going to come last. I mean, before them will come big institutional investors, and then the very conservative institutional investors. The insurance companies have $7 trillion or something in assets, and so they'll probably be, 3 levels from now. I think insurance companies right now have about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin exposure that we know of.
Right.
And the next step would be for them to increase it by a factor of 10.
Is Bitcoin dangerous for countries to invest in? With Bitcoin becoming a booming investment, some people have this general perception that Bitcoin can be detrimental to governments, as it is a potentially new concept, so investing in Bitcoin on a country level is dangerous. But the reality is that it is far from it.
I mean, I think a lot of people were against the automobile and electricity when it came out. Bitcoin is 21st century financial technology. It's $1 billion block of energy, manifested as sunlight. You can move it at the speed of light. You can program it. If you want to build a 21st century economy, you're going to need to embrace technology. It's not at all a bad thing for America to lead in the financial technology segment in the 21st century. And so dismissing Bitcoin is kind of like just dismissing any new technology. I mean, you could say the same thing about the internet. Mm-hmm.
Done that.
People get worried about new technologies, and I mean, there are people that thought that pagers were tools of criminals, right? And then there were mobile phones might be used for something, and I think in this particular case, you have the ability to put a block of $1 billion on a computer and do 1 million transactions a second and move at the speed of light. And that means that you can revolutionize the banking industry, you can revolutionize the savings account, you can create much more efficient counterparty transactions in the finance sector. You know, like the way I get loans right now is I fill out a personal financial statement. My accountant of 20 years gives it to my banker of 15 years, 3 months after the end of the year on paper, and they submit it. And on the basis of that, the bank decides whether to give me a loan.
Sure.
That's literally 19th century technology.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I could post a simple wallet address or set up a computer program where the bank could verify every second of the day, 24/7, 365, mark to market, the value of the collateral.
Yep.
You're talking about something which is 1 million times more transparent, 1 million times more efficient.
Future predictions: Bitcoin worth millions. The remarkable crypto asset Bitcoin is a decentralized financial technology that could replace fiat currencies across the globe. Because it holds such potential, Bitcoin price predictions reach as much as $1 million. Several experts from Michael Saylor, Max Kaiser, Robert Kiyosaki, and Chamath Palihapitiya have weighed in on their short and long-term price expectations for Bitcoin price. And according to most of these predictions, Bitcoin has a bright future, and within the next few years, Bitcoin has the potential to be worth millions of dollars. So, with this, we come to the end of today's video. What do you think? Will Bitcoin ever be replaced by a new digital currency? And what are your expectations about Bitcoin's future? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching.